There comes a moment in life when the silence in your heart is louder than the noise around you. A moment when you look in the mirror and the reflection staring back is no longer asking why someone hurt you, but instead asking why you kept holding on. We don't talk enough about the courage it takes to walk away, to unchain your heart from the hands that keep wounding it, to finally say, "I deserve better," and mean it. But let me tell you today, your healing begins not when someone apologizes, but when you decide their absence is healthier than their presence. It's okay to admit that you're hurting. It's okay to say, "This broke me," because pretending to be strong when you're crumbling inside isn't bravery. Bravery is feeling the ache and still choosing to rise. You see, pain is a visitor, but suffering is what happens when you offer it a home. So don't make a permanent space for someone who only brought you temporary joy followed by constant storms. You are not broken, you are becoming someone who understands that love should never come wrapped in manipulation, cruelty, or silence. You don't need to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's comfort zone. You were never meant to live small just so they could feel big. Forgiveness isn't about them, it's about you. It's a way of saying, "I refuse to carry this poison in my soul." Let go not because they deserve peace, but because you do. Because you deserve mornings where the only weight on your chest is the warmth of sunlight, not the memory of their betrayal. Reclaim your power, reclaim your voice. You are not their mistakes. You are not their moods. You are not the echo of their criticism. You are the author of a new chapter, a story where healing is not just possible. It's already happening, so breathe deeply, because with every breath you are releasing what doesn't serve you. And with every step forward, you are walking toward the life you were always meant to live. You don't let go because you're weak. You let go because you are finally strong enough to say, "This ends with me," and that is the beginning of everything. Acknowledge the pain. Healing begins with acceptance of what you feel, rather than suppressing or denying your emotions. The first step to healing is not forgetting, nor is it pretending that everything is fine. It's acknowledging that you're not. It's standing still long enough to say, "This hurts." Too often, we are taught to bottle up our emotions, to act like the hurtful words didn't cut us, like the broken trust didn't sting, like the silence didn't feel like abandonment. But the truth is, pain unacknowledged is pain unresolved. When someone hurts you, especially someone you loved, trusted, or gave a piece of your heart to, it leaves a scar that's more emotional than physical. And emotional wounds, unlike the ones we can bandage, require us to feel them fully before they can truly heal. Denying your pain, suppressing your anger, or hiding your tears does not make you stronger. It only delays your healing. Acknowledging the pain means giving yourself permission to grieve. It means saying, "Yes, that person meant something to me, and their actions hurt deeply." It means being honest about the disappointment, the confusion, the sadness, and even the rage. Because the truth is, those emotions are valid. You are not being too sensitive. You are being human. There's a misconception that acknowledging pain makes you weak or negative, but it's the exact opposite. It takes incredible strength to sit with your emotions instead of running from them. It takes courage to say, "I'm not okay right now, but I will be," because only when you honor your wounds can you begin to heal them. Think of emotional pain like a physical injury. If you twisted your ankle, you wouldn't ignore it and expect it to get better. You would rest, apply ice, and give it the care it needs. Emotional wounds are no different. When you suppress what you feel, the pain doesn't disappear, it festers. It shows up in your decisions, your relationships, your self-worth. By acknowledging the pain, you are taking your power back. You're refusing to let someone else's actions dictate your emotional world in silence. You're saying, "This happened, it hurt me, and now I choose to face it instead of burying it." And there's incredible beauty in that moment, because once you acknowledge your pain, you can begin to release it. You can start the process of transforming it into strength, wisdom, and clarity. You'll learn what you deserve, what you'll no longer tolerate, and what kind of love you will welcome in the future. So don't run from your pain. Hold space for it, sit with it, listen to it, because pain has a story to tell, and it's the first chapter of your healing. Understand your worth, recognize that your value is not defined by how someone treats you. There is a quiet tragedy in allowing someone else's treatment of you to define how you see yourself, and yet so many people fall into this pattern, thinking that if someone disregards their feelings, disrespects their boundaries, or chooses to walk away, it must mean they're not enough. But that is a lie. One of the most powerful awakenings in life is realizing that your worth is inherent. It is not negotiable, not dependent on someone's approval, and certainly not diminished by someone's inability to see your value. To understand your worth, you must first untangle yourself from the toxic idea that love, respect, or kindness must be earned through suffering. You are not someone's emotional punching bag. You are not here to tolerate mistreatment in the hope that it will one day turn into affection. Love is not meant to be conditional upon your ability to endure pain. Real love, healthy love, starts with self-respect. Think of this. A diamond doesn't lose its value if someone walks past it without noticing. It doesn't suddenly become worthless because someone fails to appreciate its brilliance. The diamond remains precious, no matter how many people overlook it. You are no different. Just because someone treated you like you didn't matter doesn't mean you don't. Just because they couldn't love you the way you deserved doesn't mean you're unlovable. It means they weren't capable, not that you were unworthy. There is an incredible shift that happens the moment you stop internalizing someone else's broken behavior as a reflection of your own value. When someone lies to you, cheats on you, manipulates you, or abandons you, it says everything about them and nothing about your worth. Your job is not to figure out why they couldn't see you. Your job is to see yourself clearly and boldly. Understanding your worth means holding your head high even when someone tries to lower it. It means refusing to beg for love, for attention, or for basic decency. It means not shrinking yourself to be more palatable, not silencing your truth to keep someone comfortable, and not dimming your light so someone else can shine. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not too loud, too emotional, or too needy. You are enough exactly as you are. This journey is not always easy. Sometimes the people we care about the most are the very ones who tear us down the hardest. And in their absence, we are left questioning our own identity. But here's the truth. The loss of someone who couldn't honor your worth is not your loss. It's theirs. Because someone else will come along who will recognize the value you carry. Someone who won't play games with your heart. Someone who won't need you to hurt in order to stay. But before that someone else arrives, you have to be that person for yourself. You have to show up for yourself every single day. Speak kindly to yourself. Set boundaries, not to keep people out, but to protect the sacredness within. Surround yourself with people who celebrate you, not those who merely tolerate you. Invest your time, energy, and love in spaces that reflect your value back to you. Because when you know what you bring to the table, you stop settling for crumbs. Understanding your worth also means embracing your imperfections. You are not a flawless being, but you don't need to be. Your scars, your mistakes, your vulnerabilities, they are all part of your beauty. Stop apologizing for your past. Stop apologizing for who you are. You do not owe the world perfection. You owe it authenticity. And that, more than anything, is where your true power lies. And let's be honest, understanding your worth often means walking away from people, places, and patterns that no longer serve you. Yes, even if it's hard. especially when it's hard, because the more you value yourself, the more intolerable it becomes to stay in situations that diminish you. It's not selfish to protect your peace. It's not arrogant to know your value. It's called self-respect, and that's the foundation of a meaningful, fulfilling life. You are not here to convince people to choose you. You are here to choose yourself over and over again, to believe in your own magic, to honor your voice, to nurture your soul, because once you truly understand your worth, your life changes. You no longer chase what is not meant for you. You no longer tolerate disrespect disguised as love. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. Instead, you rise. You rise into your truth, your confidence, and yourself. Love, you stand taller. You speak louder. You love deeper. But from a place of strength, not desperation. And you become a magnet for everything that aligns with your worth. So if someone has hurt you, if they've made you question your value, if they've walked away like you were replaceable, remind yourself, their actions do not determine your worth. You are whole, you are radiant, you are enough, not because someone else says so, but because you finally believe it. And when you do, when you understand your worth, you stop asking people to treat you right. You show them how you treat yourself, and that is where the healing begins. That is where the transformation unfolds. That is where you become unstoppable. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. Letting go is not about excusing the hurt. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. There's a common misconception about forgiveness, that it means you're saying what happened was okay, that you're excusing the pain, or worse, welcoming the person back into your life. But true forgiveness is none of those things. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's not about the person who hurt you. It's about you. It's about choosing to stop carrying the weight of someone else's actions. It's about reclaiming your peace, your freedom, and your emotional power. You see, when someone hurts you deeply, intentionally, repeatedly, they don't just leave a scar, they often leave behind an emotional anchor. And that anchor is made of resentment, anger, pain, and unanswered questions. You replay the moments in your mind, wondering why. Why did they betray you? Why did they lie? Why weren't you enough for them to stay or to treat you better? You build up walls of protection, but behind those walls, the pain still lingers. You carry it into your conversations, your relationships, your thoughts. And here's what no one tells you. Resentment doesn't protect you. It poisons you. It doesn't punish them. It imprisons you. Every time you think of them and your chest tightens, every time you hear their name and your mood shifts, every time you recall the pain and it steals your joy, that's not them hurting you anymore. That's the memory of the pain holding you hostage. And you deserve more than that. You deserve freedom. You deserve a heart that is light, unburdened, and open to healing. Forgiveness is how you set yourself free. But let's be clear, forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not pretending like it didn't happen. It's not acting like you weren't hurt. It's not about invalidating your experience. In fact, forgiveness begins with acknowledging the full depth of your pain. You can't let go of something you haven't fully faced, so face it, honor it, sit with it, and then, when you're ready, make the conscious choice. I no longer want this to live inside of me. Because here's the truth, you don't need their apology to let go. You don't need closure from the person who broke you to begin healing. You don't need them to admit what they did, or to feel sorry, or to make it right. You don't need them to change for you to choose peace. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself, not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve mornings where you wake up, and the first thing you feel is calm, not chaos. You deserve relationships where you don't carry old wounds into new beginnings. You deserve to laugh without the weight of what was. You deserve to live a life that's no longer tied to a past that hurt you. So how do you forgive? You start by making a decision, not a one-time event, but a daily choice. You say, today, I choose to no longer carry this pain. And some days you'll need to choose it again and again, because healing is not linear. It's not instant. Some days the anger will rise again. Some days you'll feel like you've moved on, and then something triggers the memory and the hurt comes flooding back. That's okay. Forgiveness is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It also helps to understand that people often hurt others from their own place of brokenness. Hurt people hurt people. That doesn't excuse what they did, but it explains why you should stop letting them leave rent free in your heart. If they were unkind, it was a reflection of them, not of you. You don't need to hold on to their toxicity. Release it, not for them, for you. Let me tell you this, there is immense power in being able to say, you hurt me, but I refuse to let that pain define me. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. That is strength. That is courage. That is transformation. And when you forgive, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel lighter. Your heart begins to soften. The bitterness begins to dissolve. You begin to reclaim parts of yourself that were lost in the storm. You start loving again, yourself first, and then others. You stop waiting for the past to fix itself, and you start building your future. Forgiveness is not weakness. It's not surrender. It's not defeat. It is the boldest, most empowering act of self-love. It says, I choose to rise above. I choose healing. I choose me. And when you walk in forgiveness, you walk in freedom. You no longer flinch at the sound of their name. You no longer react to the memory like it's still happening. You become the author of your own peace, and you realize that what they did to you is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your rebirth. So no, forgiveness is not for them. It's not about letting them off the hook. It's about releasing yourself from the hook. Because you were never meant to carry that pain forever. You are not the pain. You are not the betrayal. You are not the wound. You are the survivor. You are the healer. You are the one who decided that your joy matters more than your anger. And when you forgive, you don't lose anything. You gain everything: peace, clarity, wholeness, power. That's what's waiting on the other side. So let it go, not because they were right, but because you deserve to be free. Reclaiming your identity, you are more than the pain, more than the relationship, and certainly more than what someone failed to see in you. When someone you love hurts you, especially someone you gave your time, energy, and trust to, it can feel like they didn't just break your heart, they broke a part of you. Suddenly, you're not sure who you are without that person. You're not sure if you're still lovable, still strong, still whole. Their words echo in your head. Their silence becomes your self-doubt, and before you even realize it, you're no longer just healing from what they did. You're searching for the you who existed before the pain. That is why reclaiming your identity is a sacred part of letting go. Because to truly move forward, you must remember who you are outside of the wound. Let me say this clearly. You were never what they called you in anger. You were never the mistake they walked away from. You were never the version of yourself that settled, that kept forgiving, that kept trying to fix what was never yours to fix. That may have been a season, but it is not your definition. Reclaiming your identity means drawing a bold line between who you are and what happened to you. It means saying, yes, I was hurt, but I am not broken. It means understanding that someone else's inability to love you does not diminish your capacity to love yourself. So how do you begin this process? First, you take your name back from their mouth. You stop letting the version of you that existed only in that relationship be the one that defines your worth. Maybe they made you feel small. Maybe they made you feel like your emotions were too much. Maybe they took advantage of your kindness and made you question your value. But that's their reflection, not yours. Just because someone didn't see your light doesn't mean you stopped shining. It just means they chose darkness. Reclaiming your identity is about stepping back into your truth, the truth that existed before they entered your story, the truth that says you are worthy, not because someone else decided you are, but because you already were. Your worth is not up for negotiation, not then, not now. Remember who you were before they hurt you. Think back to the dreams you had, the laughter that came so easily, the confidence that wasn't tied to someone else's validation. That version of you still exists, and the beautiful part is, now you're wiser, now you're stronger, now you're more compassionate because you've seen pain and you've survived it. You see, healing isn't about returning to who you were before. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Take a moment and ask yourself, who am I when no one is defining me? What brings me joy when I'm not trying to impress or please someone else? What do I love about myself that has nothing to do with what they once praised or criticized? Maybe for the first time in a long time, you start dressing for yourself. You start smiling at your reflection, not because someone else called you beautiful, but because you feel beautiful. You start picking up hobbies you put down. You start dancing again, singing again, laughing without watching over your shoulder to see if they approve. You reclaim your identity by living. You take the pieces of yourself they couldn't love and you cherish them. You take your sensitivity, your depth, your loyalty, and you say, these are not weaknesses, these are gifts. You stop apologizing for the parts of yourself that made you you, and listen. Reclaiming your identity also means setting boundaries, even with your own mind. Sometimes your thoughts will try to pull you back into the pain. What if I wasn't enough? What if I'd done this differently? But those thoughts are not facts. They are echoes from a place you no longer live in. When they walked away, it may have felt like they took a part of you with them, but here's the truth. They didn't take your worth. They didn't take your future. They didn't take your identity. That part of you is still here, waiting for you to return to it. So return to yourself. Write a new story, one where you are no longer the person waiting to be chosen, one where you are no longer begging to be understood, one where your love for yourself is louder than their silence. Rebuilding your identity also involves your voice. Speak kindly to yourself. The way you talk to yourself matters. If you constantly say, I'm so stupid for staying, or I should have known better, you keep wounding the very heart you're trying to heal. Be gentle. Speak to yourself like someone you're trying to protect, because you are. Say this out loud if you need to. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. I am allowed to outgrow who I was in that relationship. I am not broken. I am becoming. And surround yourself with people who see you, not just your pain. People who remind you of your brilliance. People who call you higher, not hold you back. Because part of reclaiming your identity is recognizing that you deserve to be in spaces where you are loved as you are, not as someone needs you to be. Letting go of someone who hurt you doesn't mean you forget the lessons. It means you stop living in the pain. It means you thank the experience for what it taught you. Maybe it taught you strength. Maybe it taught you what red flags look like. Maybe it taught you how to finally choose yourself. And then you walk forward, stronger than before. You are not defined by who walked away. You are defined by how you rise, by how you reclaim your voice, your light, your name. So stand tall, speak your truth. Remember who you are enough, you are worthy. You are free, and no one, not even the person who once tried to dim your light, can take that away from you, not anymore. You are coming home to yourself, and that is the most powerful return of all. Creating a future without them, the greatest act of letting go, is building a life they are no longer a part of, and not just surviving it, but thriving through it. When someone you love has hurt you, it's easy to get stuck in the after. Math, replaying memories like old tapes, wondering what went wrong, or wishing for a different ending. The past becomes a place you visit too often, and the future feels like a blurred, empty canvas. Why? Because everything ahead once included them. All your dreams had their face in it. All your tomorrows had their voice in the background. And now you are left with the terrifying task of imagining a future without someone who once felt permanent. But here's the truth. The future without them is not a tragedy. It's a turning point. Yes, it may start with uncertainty, but what if that uncertainty is not a void, but a blank page? What if the life you were meant to build was always waiting for you to be free enough to create it? Let's talk about how to do that. How to rise from the ashes of heartbreak, not just to exist, but to build, to bloom, to become. First, you must consciously choose to stop watering dead plants. Letting go means you no longer invest emotional energy in something that no longer exists. It means no more rereading old messages, no more waiting for closure, no more checking their social media to see if they miss you. If they truly belonged in your future, they wouldn't have hurt you in your present. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to stop placing your peace in the hands of someone who didn't protect it. Creating a future without them is not about revenge. It's not about proving your worth to them. It's about proving your worth to you. It's about realizing that the end of a chapter is not the end of your story. You are the author. You hold the pen. So what do you write next? You start by dreaming again. Start small if you must. What's something you stopped doing because they didn't support it? Pick it up again. What's something you always wanted to try, but never did because you were too busy pouring into someone who never filled you back? Now is your chance. Start rebuilding your vision board. Not one that includes them, but one that includes you, your goals, your voice, your happiness. Maybe it's going back to school. Maybe it's starting that business. Maybe it's traveling somewhere they never wanted to go. Maybe it's as simple and powerful as waking up in the morning and smiling because you're free from emotional warfare. You see, healing becomes transformation when you stop looking back and start looking forward. When you turn your pain into purpose, when you realize that everything you survived has sharpened you, you've developed resilience, strength, emotional wisdom. That's not something everyone has. That's not something they can take with them. That belongs to you now. And here's something beautiful. Your future doesn't have to look like anyone else's. You don't need to rush into another relationship to prove you've moved on. You don't need to pretend you're fine every moment of the day. You just need to take one step forward, day by day, piece by piece. Reimagine your life as yours alone. What kind of mornings do you want to have? What kind of people do you want to surround yourself with? What does peace look like for you? Love yourself enough to become the person who lives in that vision. Because creating a future without them means choosing yourself every single day. It means saying, yes, I miss who I thought we could be, but I love who I'm becoming even more. It means walking into your new life with the grace to acknowledge the hurt, but the courage to not let it define your destiny. Yes, there will be moments where you'll be triggered, where a song or a scent or a memory takes you back. But healing is not linear. It's okay to visit the past. Just don't set up camp there. Use those moments to remind yourself how far you've come, not how far you have to go. Let this be the season where you bloom, where you wake up and smile, not because life is perfect, but because you know you're not stuck anymore. You're not shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's story. You're writing your own, one where your joy isn't conditional, one where your dreams aren't postponed. One where love doesn't come at the cost of your peace. And maybe, just maybe, someday you'll look back not with bitterness, but with pride. Not because they came back, but because you didn't break. Because you learned to let go with grace. Because you chose to build a life so rich, so full, so joyful, that their absence became your blessing. Your future does not need their permission. Let that be your anthem. I am building a life where I don't need to be rescued. I am becoming the person I needed when I was hurting. I am the healer, the dreamer, the architect of a life they were never meant to understand, because the future isn't about them. It never was. It's about you. It's about what you do now. It's about choosing light, choosing life, choosing you. So go ahead, stand tall, wipe the tears, exhale the pain, pick up your dreams, and walk boldly toward the future they no longer get to be a part of. You are not just healing, you are rebuilding, and what you're creating now, it's going to be beautiful.